Ramona, welcome to Broadband.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, Denise.
So let's start with the easy question. What is your business, Inspired Creatives?
Inspired Creative Studio is a web design agency, and we specialize in serving solopreneurs, predominantly women, but we do get some men thrown in once in a while. And we are rather kind of a full service web design agency. We strive to be your long-term partner. As your business grows, we want your website to grow and we want it to adapt to your business goals.
Now, full disclosure, listeners, Ramona designed my new website, which I am just about to share with the world at the time of this taping, or it's not taping, recording. We're not taping. At the time of this recording, I'm going to be sharing it with the world tomorrow, September 15th. Super excited. It is so gorgeous. Everyone I've shown to so far loves it. So thank you, Ramona.
Thank you. And that's what we're going for. We really do go for what puts us apart, or what makes us feel like we're one a little bit above the rest, is that we really strive for that wow factor. If we don't get wow, or I love it, or all those accolades, little people pleaser syndrome back there, but it works. We really haven't done our jobs. We really want people to be satisfied and over the moon with their websites.
Well, you got a satisfied client right here. That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, how long have you been in business?
Well, formally since 2012. So that's 8 years, but I've been doing websites and I've been around tech for my entire adult life. But I'd say since about 2005, I started kind of seriously dabbling with websites, but I didn't make it official until basically 6 years later. I said, maybe I should get serious about running a business.
Okay.
Slow learner here.
Same here. No worries. No judgment here. Now, but I will have to ask you, because web and tech is not exactly known for the number of women in that sector. What drew you to this trade, this sector of work?
Okay, so, well, like I say, I've been in tech since God was a boy, and computers were as big as houses, a little bit dating myself, but it's the truth. And I'm the accidental tourist, basically. I was like, oh, tech, computers, yuck, that's not for me. So I really steered away from it. And it's just the funniest thing how I fell into it was because I was a great typist.
Interesting.
I was a good typist, and when people found out, I got jobs with people that were writing books and putting them on personal computers, and got a job in a physics department with a guy doing research, and it was all because I could type and they couldn't. And that just kind of led, one thing to another, just staying around tech for many, many years.
So you've seen it go through a lot of changes.
I have. And it's kind of strange that still today, I think if I walk into a room, to a conference or something, it's still kind of the same ratio of male to female. It hasn't really, it's not 50-50. So that, I think, is surprising. We have all these, STEM. We have all these pushes for women to go into tech and do the coding and start early. And it's still not, I don't see it. I mean, I know there's more women out there, but it's still in the minority, I would say.
It's going to be a work in progress. It's going to take some time. Now,
it is.
You already mentioned one thing, the wow factor that makes you stand out from the other businesses that offer the same services. But what would be a couple of other things that makes Inspired Creatives more inspirational than some of your competitors?
Like, yeah. Okay, so we really try and get to know our client. We take a lot of time onboarding, and we get to know what you want, what your likes and dislikes are, what your business goals are. We drill down into your why. We keep, why this, why that. We try and make sure that we know who your ideal client is. And so we do some exercises with personas and avatars to determine, who your ideal client is. And it's not every woman over 30 with a pulse. Some clients do come with us, and it's all women, and it's not all women. So we have to do some, drilling down for that. And we get to know who the ideal client is and what the problem is you're solving. So if you're not solving a problem, you really don't have a good business model.
Yeah, exactly.
And so those are a few things that we do straight away. And we decide on at least one goal for your website, because your website should have a goal. It's not going to sit there and look pretty. It needs to have a goal that's integrated into your bigger business marketing plans.
Now, if you could go back to that younger self that you sort of touched on a little bit, and have a conversation, what kind of advice would you give your younger self about the career, and actually launching your own business, being self-employed?
What would I tell my younger self? I would say, just keep doing what you're doing. It's not about all the big things. It's about consistently putting one foot in front of the other. There's not going to be a lot of fireworks and, champagne popping. Every once in a while that'll happen, but just be consistent. The getting out of bed, putting 2 feet on the ground, and consistently putting one foot in front of the other is going to get you to where you need to be.
And when you went into this adventure, did you go in with a lot of confidence, or did you build your confidence as you went along?
No, yeah. Oh, no. You don't even want to go there. Why'd you open that up? I've had plenty of therapy on that.
We all have, girl.
This is a whole hour. You'll have to charge me, $125 or whatever the going rate is, $150. Self-esteem, very low. Imposter syndrome. I think that I was doing what it was kind of the mother and what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, so I've been downsized and I want to, try, I don't want to go back to corporate. So I'm going to try a couple of ideas. Well, they were really bad ideas, but I needed a website, and I knew that I had the HTML, and I said, boy, this is really hard. This is not, this isn't doing what I want it to do. And plus it's taking too long, and plus they're ugly. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And so then I landed into the CMS's content.
Which is what? System. Okay, content management systems. Okay.
I fell into one, Drupal, and that was extremely hard. And that was a male-dominated. There was a lot of men over there in that support group, and I was like, I got to get out of here because they're way up here, and I'm not with that. And then I found WordPress, and what I could do with WordPress in like 10 minutes took me like 3 months in Drupal. And I'm just saying, if there's people out there that love Drupal is fine. It wasn't my bailiwick. So I started, I said, okay, now I can do this, get this business idea out there, but it was a bad idea. But I did learn WordPress. And then, as luck would have it, a family member at Thanksgiving or something said she had a business, she needed a website. I'll do a website for you. And of course, didn't charge her anything. So she had a friend a couple months later that said, she needed a website and she'll pay you. And I thought, okay, let's think about this.
And that goes right back to your point of what you would tell your younger self, one step in front of the other. You got to keep moving forward.
You got to keep moving forward. And just, it was a
Right.
good skill to acquire. And now you've got people that will actually pay you money. Now, I won't tell you how much I got off of that first website, but gave me the confidence to say maybe I should just, move ahead
Do it.
and make this a business. And I kind of detoured. I will step back. I started as a VA,
Oh,
a
okay.
virtual assistant, and I was
Okay.
the techie VA. And so I was servicing people with WordPress, and I was also doing Infusionsoft, which is a marketing platform. So I was helping people with that, and I was on teams, but I felt that the designing was where my
Spoke to you.
biggest asset was, and I really wanted to do things on a project basis instead of a task basis. Not to diminish virtual assistants, because I love being a virtual assistant and it was just great for me. But I was more of I need to be involved in the entire project.
Yeah. The big picture.
The big picture project. And I knew that I wasn't going to get that latitude unless I, went out and just concentrated on being a web designer. So yeah, as far as circling back to confidence, it was not there. It was kind of a crapshoot.
But you did it. You had courage. You might not have had confidence,
Yeah,
but you had the
I did,
courage.
yeah. And I will say that I did have a husband that had a full-time job, so that helped.
Yeah.
So it helped a lot.
Well, having a cushion also, makes it a world of difference.
It does.
And you
It does.
hear stories of women that I've talked with, they like lost their job, had no money in the bank, and decided to go for it, or
Mhm.
they had cushion, which I think is the preferred way when you
Yeah.
have a
Oh
little
yeah. I
something.
think cushion is, yeah. If you've got if a daytime job, for a lot of people, keep the daytime job, do a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is, a sound way to go about it. Some people are, hey, here I am. I either,
Sink or
do
swim.
this now. Yeah, it's either a sink or swim. And
Right.
that's a motivator,
Yeah.
because you're going to make it. You're going to make it.
You figure it
So
out.
there's a lot of ways to get into business. But yeah,
Yeah.
for me, go on.
Oh, no, I was going to wait for you to finish, but I was going to say, same here. I had a full-time job in nonprofit work, and I had a side hustle doing what I do now for CTD Creative. So,
Mhm.
you get to explore, you get to build capacity, and just my life circumstance, which is a story for another time. But I saw an opportunity, had a little cushion or resource to say, okay, I could do this if I'm going to do it, and you go for it. Now, who would you say has influenced you professionally?
I thought about that, and I thought about, there's a lot of famous women, let's see, Eleanor Roosevelt, we
Love
could go
Eleanor. Yeah.
contemporary, Oprah, Michelle Obama. But who really, did they really influence me? I admire them, of course. There's a slew of, wonderful women out there. But really the people that influenced me, both professionally and personally, was my mother, my grandmother, and my aunts. And they were just all strong Black women, that were not, they weren't given any of them a golden ticket. They didn't have easy lives, but they pursued their lives with what I felt was dignity, poise, and grace. And they kept pushing. They were women that kept pushing. They, like I say, they didn't have a golden ticket, but
Yeah.
they knew that they had to get up every morning and they had to do what they had to do. And
Make
I
it
watched
happen.
that and I said, okay.
That's how I do it. As I'm interviewing and having conversations like this with women, it's really lovely and amazing to hear that my guests, pretty much all of them so far, have mentioned a mom or a
Mhm,
female family member who
mhm.
has influenced them to live this dream. And that is just so, so cool. Now, how do you keep your momentum going as a business owner? Because I'm going to guess, like most of us, you're not working 1 day a week and then drinking pina coladas the other 6 days of the week.
Oh, I wish, yeah.
It's anxiety, there's stress, there's a lot of work, because you can't really delegate it to a lot. Even if you do have a few people on staff, you're still the bottom line, the CEO, the boss.
Right.
How do you manage your momentum to keep things going in the right direction?
Just the basics. Eat right, exercise, meditate, go to bed early, wake up early, get downtime. I try and have once a week is my Sunday. This has nothing to do with being super religious, but I call it my proper Sabbath. I think a lot of us have gotten away from having a proper Sunday, and I just like to call it my proper Sabbath. Just might not even take my pajamas off that day. I get a bubble bath in the afternoon. I try and meditate, listen to meditational music, and that's my recharge. I do a weekly review, and you mentioned you take Sunday and you plan your week ahead.
Yes.
And I try and do that. I try and do a weekly review, try and get things set up. I suffer from ADD, adult ADD. So having those little rituals helps a lot. But yeah, journaling in the morning, morning pages, that's from Julia Cameron, Artist's Way, do those. Just really basic. Try and eat as good as you can, eat the best food you can. Doesn't always have to be organic. Cook yourself.
Yeah.
Don't rely on going out to eat all the time, but cook yourself. That's a meditation right there.
Yeah, taking care of yourself is really critical. And again, a theme that I'm noticing when I'm talking to women for this podcast is that whether you want to call it self-care or self-awareness or whatever you want to call it, it's as critical as making sure you pay your bills, right?
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Oh, yeah. And you definitely feel it on those, I will get, especially in the wintertime, I'm binging, the Netflix and the Hulus and I go through the whole gamut,
Right.
and I'll get stuck on something and start binging. And that's when, and it's horrible because they just want to make us all addicts. It's programmed into the way the systems are built.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, if I only watch I got to watch that next
Oh, no,
episode.
I've been there. I've been there.
And it's like, why am I up? I didn't watch 6 episodes, but I'm up at 3:00 in the morning thinking, how did I get to episode 8? And I can't remember what happened after episode 2 because you were sleeping in the chair. Now you got to go, you get off into those, those habits.
Yeah.
And it's so easy just to revert back. So there's a little timer on the phone. I never consider myself a quantified person, but I am getting pretty quantified. So I have the little nighttime thing that'll ding. I think it does a little lullaby, as a matter of fact.
Oh, it's a little like, Ramona, time for beddy bye.
It actually does that. It comes up and it says, time to get ready for bed. And sometimes I say, okay. And then sometimes I say, screw it, I'm going to watch this next episode. But it is, you definitely, you feel it and you realize it. And I think as time goes on, when you mess up, the recovery takes longer.
Yeah.
You not only have that one bad day the next day, you might have a bad day a couple of days before you get back into your routine.
The rhythm again. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Taking care of yourself is very important. So here's a question for you. Are you every little bit helps kind, like an incremental person, or an all or nothing kind of gal?
Let me see. What do you mean by every little bit?
So let's say you were going to knit a quilt. Let me use this analogy. Are you like, oh my gosh, I have to sit down. I got to get it done. I got to get it done at a certain point. If I don't, I'm not going to feel blah, blah, blah. It's got to be done, all or nothing. Or you know what, I want to make a quilt, and I'm gonna just, I'm gonna knit once a week, and I'll get there when I get there, kind of thing.
Mhm, mhm.
I just made up that analogy as I asked
Okay,
the
no, but
question.
I get it. I get it. Yeah. I am more the all or nothing. I will get stuck into things, and that kind of because you did. Are we allowed to say that you gave? I did look at the questions. That kind of ties into some different things that I was going to talk about. So my natural sense is to get stuck into something.
Mm,
And that means that I may go 10, 12 hours. I may go 2 days, but I'm going to see it till it's done. That's my natural
mm.
inclination. But because we are so digitally connected now, that has fallen by the wayside a little
You're
bit.
tenacious by nature.
I do better.
Yeah.
Again, that goes back to being ADD,
Hmm.
because if you have 6 projects, you're going to have 6 projects that never get done, which
Right.
my mother, still here today, you never finish anything. You've got all these projects.
Yeah.
But when you get stuck into one project, you just go, 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 go. And
Get
that's
finished.
really the more natural for me.
Okay. So I want to ask you about risk taking. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being a scaredy cat and
Mhm.
10 being Evel Knievel or Wonder
Mhm.
Woman,
Yeah.
where would you put yourself on that scale as far as risk taking?
I would be like right in the middle.
Okay.
I'm not, I don't like, I will take risks. I'm not a gambler though.
Hmm.
You could pay me enough to go to Las Vegas.
I'm the
Like
same way. I don't like to gamble.
but I don't like to gamble. Risk taking, I have taken risks. So I think they're calculated
Thoughtful.
risks. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
thoughtful risks. Yeah. So I think
Okay.
I would be a little more middle of the road, but not fearless, but able to I have it up on my wall here. What's it say? Oh, leap and the net will appear. I do believe that. If you have the faith and you think, whatever any of us do, some of us pray on it, some of us, meditate on it. If you feel inside that it's the right thing to do, there's a courage that you get to go ahead and do it, even though you really are scared. Um, so I still think risk wise, I would be right in the middle.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
How much time do you devote to professional development? And like, what kind of things do you do to build your
But I
skills?
probably should.
That's not answering the question.
More than probably probably 25% of I am always learning.
Yeah.
There's an old Glenn something. There was an Alec Baldwin movie years ago, and he was a salesperson. He was real mean to his salespeople, and he said, "Always be closing. ABC. Always be closing. Always be closing." And I had salespeople. I worked as a salesperson that would say that, sales managers, always be closing. But my motto is always be learning.
Mm,
And I am proud of myself that I have really stuck with that. I made that motto consciously when I was like in my early 30s, and I was taking classes at Kent State, just taking them. We lived there. The college was there, and to me it was like, well, why wouldn't you take classes? Why wouldn't you
yeah.
sit in on a few classes? The college is right there. So yeah, I've always want to be learning, always. And I probably spend more time than necessary on just learning something new. Yesterday, over the weekend, that's what I did over the weekend. Got stuck into some Shopify custom themes that are a bit tricky. And it took me 2 days to figure out what the heck did this developer have on his mind when he created this. Beautiful, but creating it is hard. And I just said, I am going to make this thing do what I
Mm,
want it to do. So that was a total did not know what I was doing at the beginning of Saturday morning, but by yesterday afternoon, I actually had the theme created the way I wanted it.
Well, it's always a balance because, as self-employed entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, owning our own business, we have to manage so many elements of it. And what is, if it's not a natural tendency to go out and learn and develop your skills, you have to be aware of it. You have a natural tendency. I have a natural tendency to do that. So I don't know about you, but for me, the pendulums might swing the other way, where I'm spending so much time learning and absorbing and watching this webinar and reading this blog and listening to this podcast, because I just love to absorb and learn information. Do you have any recommendations for like podcasts or blogs or thought leaders or teachers that you could share with our listeners?
Let's see. I'm probably the only person on the planet that's not listening to a podcast, and I will be listening to yours though, BroadBand.
Nice save, Ramona.
Got on my list. But I used to listen to podcasts all the time. I listen to them walking, and then I decided against that. I wasn't going to put any headphones in on walking, that there was too much nature. That was my walking meditation, and I haven't really found anything to get stuck into podcast wise recently. That doesn't mean that I won't. I think I listen more in the afternoon. I listen to binaural beats and solfeggio tones, and they're all about the brain and what makes us focus, and it's very woo woo. That's a day, yes, for another day. But yeah, I spend a lot of time listening to music during the day, and then if I I may turn on NPR if I need to, feel like I'm, want to hear some news. They're kind of my. Okay,
but you do have some resources, like online resources, where you get a lot of knowledge share, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Like Neil Patel, is he one of your resources?
Oh, Neil Patel. Yeah, I like Neil Patel. He's for SEO. He's really great. Another guy that I like, and he's kind of I'm not going to call him a weirdo, but he is. He's a weirdo. His name, you have to watch his channel. Noah Kagan, and I think it's Kagan. He's the founder of AppSumo, and he has a YouTube channel, and he has this course called Make 1K a Month or something, and he's on that startup. That's his methodology, is the startup, because that's what he does, is startups. I'm not his demographic. His demographic are like, guys 24 to 32 or something. But he does give really good stuff. The one thing I've learned from him is like validation. Validate your product before you build it. But let's see, blogs. This ties into a tool. So the best blog I've found on productivity is Todoist. Todoist is the app, and it's a get things done, David Allen methodology.
Okay.
It's GTD. If you like Trello or boards or a whole bunch of collaboration, it's not for you. It's very kind of flat.
Single.
File.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of flat file. But Todoist has this beautiful user interface, which I'm a UI snob. So it has a beautiful user interface. Its blog is like absolutely beautiful. And they just give you really good stuff. Every time you read something, you go, oh, I'm smarter now. I know how to handle that now. And what ties into that is a book that I read about a year ago called Deep Work. And that's by Cal Newport. And the takeaway from that, he goes deeply into deep work and, going on retreats and, 7-day deep works. But my takeaway from that is it validated that my natural way of learning or not natural way of getting things done is to do a deep dive. And it validated that was the better way for me, because being a business owner, I have the feeling that I need to be touching everything, touching every client. I can only do, a time blocks is another thing that keeps me straight. But, I do an hour here, an hour there, 90 minutes here, 90 minutes there, and you're still kind of fragmented. But if you have a big project, if you do a deep dive, like Saturday and Sunday, that was a deep dive into Shopify. So I kind of do a deep dive Wednesday and try and say, what's lording over me? And it doesn't have to be business. It can be a personal, like maybe the basement needs, cleaned out. That's a deep dive. Just take the whole day. Start, get a cup of coffee. Don't watch the news. Start straight away at 7 or whatever, and just work through. You don't have to cook. You got leftovers for the hubby, and just keep on doing until you're dead tired. And that, from his book, I felt that was what I took away from it. And to tie back into Todoist, they have these great templates. And one of their templates is the deep work template, which you can just, import in, and then you've got the outline that helps you follow along. And they also have a great weekly review that I do on Sundays. So I do find that I guess you can use Todoist with teams. I'm sure you can have collaborators, but I don't think it's like an asana, an asana, however you want to pronounce that. Mm-hmm. It's not that collaborative, which I didn't like that Asana because it was too collaborative. It had all the collaboration is right in front of you, which I didn't need. So I do like Todoist. I think it's I like them, and I like their blog. Let's see. What else?
Well, I think what I'll do is I'll make sure I'll add all the links to these resources in the show notes.
Yes.
Okay. But I do have one final question for you.
Okay.
Which is actually a series of questions, if you will.
All right.
Here we go. How did your business get the name Inspired Creatives?
Okay, I can't really remember, but I think that this was one of the business ideas that didn't really pan out. It was Inspired Creatives was supposed to be, and it kind of still is, but I thought it was going to be artisans. And at that time I was like full on with the crafts and, knitting and crocheting and this, needlecraft and that needlecraft. And that's when my eyesight was a lot better. But I felt that it was to be a co-op or of artisans. And we would come together and we would work together on, our individual crafts and have a co-op. And I think at that time, there were kind of little shops that would have little stalls in them. And I don't even know if those are around anymore. But I always had that, when I would walk into them, I said, I want to be in one of these little stalls here. I want to have my wares. But that never really materialized. But the name stayed.
And here it is today.
And when I started, doing websites, I just liked the fact that, the Inspired, I look at that spiritually, that we're trying to bring something good into the world. We're not trying to harm people. We're not trying to be egotistical, but we're just trying to bring something, good into the world. So that's where Inspired Creatives came from.
What is your favorite flower?
With either the star lily or gardenia. And both of those have a really strong scent. So anybody that has allergies, sorry about that. But those would be my, one or the other.
Do you prefer coffee or tea?
Both. Coffee in the morning. Got to have caffeine in the morning. But as the day wears on, because it can only take about 3 cups, maybe 4. 4 is the jittery one. I have to switch to herbal teas. So if you ever have an ailment, all you have to do is come to me. I got a tea for you. Don't worry about it. There's a tea there is a tea that will cure that. Trust me. And I know which one it is.
Right on. I'll make a note of that. If you had a chance to go to Tahiti or Paris, which one would you pick and why?
Tahiti. I took a lot of French in college and high school, but Paris seems to be a doing adventure, and I don't want a doing adventure right now. Tahiti would be where I want to do nothing.
There you
I
go.
want to unplugged, and I want to put my feet in the sand.
Are you an intention setter or a goal getter?
It's funny that you should mention that, because I told you to do morning pages. So after I do my morning pages, I write out what my intention is. And I literally put intentions for today. And I try and keep them to 3, but habit, reverts back, and it does become like a 10 or 20, long task list, which is not the point. But I do try, and it's a good day when I've said I have 3 intentions, whether that's business or personal. This is what I'm going to try and do, and then see if I did it at the end of the day.
Right
but
on.
Yeah, definitely intention.
Do you have a favorite quote you can share with us?
I do. My favorite quote is, and I'm going to look on my board, is, "You will get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want." And that's by the great Zig Ziglar. He was a great salesman. And back in way before the internet, everybody was reading his books, and him and Og Mandingo and it's a Draper or somebody or other. He is my favorite quote. And what I have above that is the meaning of karma, because I tie those 2 things in. I think that if, karma, of course, can be good or bad, but hopefully if you're helping enough other people get what they want, good things are going to come back to you. So I have that above. The meaning of karma is his quote.
Ramona, thank you so much. This has been such a treat.
This has been fun. I like it. Bring me back. I know you won't.